Alright boys, today we are going to prepare the legendary Lord of Pepper chicken. In 5 minutes of preparation and just 25 minutes in the oven, you can prepare 300 grams of high quality protein. It's easy to eat, easy to prepare, easy to store, easy to heat up after cooking. This is for men who just don't have the time for complex recipes. When it comes to chicken, we have only 5 options: chicken breast, thighs, drumsticks, wings, and the whole leg. I don't like chicken breast because it doesn't have a lot of fat, which means it doesn't have a lot of flavor, which means the cooking process to prepare good chicken breast is just more complicated, doesn't taste that good anyway, and the fat is a feature, not a bug, so I actually want fat. So chicken breast off the table. Chicken wings, it's like a bunch of work for not that much reward because there's not much meat on the wings anyway. So I don't use chicken wings. That leaves us with drumsticks, that leaves us with thighs and whole legs. Whole legs is just thighs plus drumsticks. So just get the whole legs. Why is this? It's because it's cheaper per pound. It's the same nutrition value, but it's cheaper per pound because there's one less manufacturing step, or like processing step, really. So whole legs is the superior cut of chicken. Just always get whole legs. Easy. Always get them with the skin on because the skin is nutritious. The skin has, essentially, it has collagen and other micronutrients that are good for your own skin. So you want the skin on, not just for that reason, but also because once you put it through the oven, it's going to crisp up and the crispy chicken skin tastes amazing. So skin on always. And of course, you know that not all chicken is created equal. We don't want to consume the chickens that are kept in those little cages or are in these cooped indoor environments. These have a lot of antibiotic load because of the stress and strain they're subjected to because of their environment, essentially. So what do? We look for pasture raised. If you see Better Chicken Project or Animal Welfare Certified, you can be sure that this is some high quality chicken. And if you have more questions about labels, just put them in the comments. Foods like this, whole foods that aren't too different from what our ancestors ate, is what I use to build up my body relatively quickly. This is what I looked like post-surgery last year, and these are my latest gym progress photos. Nutrition is of course one of the 3 pillars of hormone optimized training, and this cannot be compromised. To do this recipe, you need a few spices, you need a few seasonings, all of which are easy to get in any grocery store. Most people don't really think too much about the salt they use, but the truth is, the salt you use has a huge impact on the flavor of the cooking. In fact, when I was at the Austin Growth House last year, one of the members, Steven, actually said that he had the best steak he's ever had in his life, which I prepared for all the boys. And it wasn't because I'm some kind of amazing Michelin star cook, it was because I was using high quality salt, and most people don't know anything about salt. So what is high quality salt? You can get Celtic sea salt, you can get Peruvian salt, or if you want the absolute best microplastic free spring salt, you can get Vera salt. Then you need the spices. You need ground black pepper, you need crushed rosemary, you need thyme, you need onion powder, garlic powder, and ground ginger. Basically, the onion, garlic, and ground ginger are kind of support and boost the flavor of the pepper. And the rosemary, thyme, they add a kind of aromatic fragrance and freshness to the recipe. But first, you need some cooking fat. And you can use butter, like this Kerrygold I have here, or you can choose to use duck fat. Now, I'm going to coat these chicken legs up with the duck fat, which means I need to remove this ring, which has gotten a bit stuck. And I also need to remove my legendary Seiko Alpinist. Don't want that to get dirty. I am gonna open this up. By the way, boys, if you have duck fat or lard or tallow, once you open it, you do need to keep it in the fridge. It's just gonna last way longer. So what you do is, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Get some of the duck fat, put it on your palm. It's going to melt under the body temperature. And once it has, you're just going to apply it on the chicken, whole chicken legs. Just make a nice even coat and just move them around. So the thing about chicken is chicken actually has a much higher food contamination risk than red meat like beef does. You need to be careful when you're dealing with chicken because you don't want to touch the raw chicken and then touch other things. If you do, you're just increasing the chance of getting some terrible illness. So why is that, right? Let's talk about that. The simple answer is this: chickens are smaller. So what's going on? Because a chicken is smaller, the digestive tract of the chicken is closer to the actual meat that you consume. So think about a cow. Think about a large animal like a cow. A lot of the meat is coming from places which are not in close proximity to the digestive tract. The digestive tract is where a lot of the E. coli and other bacteria live. So in case of chicken, there's a high likelihood that the bacteria can jump from the digestive tract onto the whole chicken legs, which is why we want to be careful. But in terms of red meat, you can theoretically, I'm not saying you should do this, you can have red meat raw. And that the reason why red meat raw can work, but raw chicken meat cannot work, is because of the size of the animal and the proximity of the digestive tract to the actual muscle meat that you're consuming. But let's get back into this chicken recipe. I said that this recipe can be used to get 300 grams of protein. I should be clear about this. So this recipe, like what I have right now, is 150 grams of protein. But I can just double up. So I have 2 whole legs right here. But this 12-inch skillet, 12-inch cast iron skillet, does have enough room for 2 more. And I've made that before. I'm not choosing to make it right now because for the purpose of the video, this would be faster. So 2 legs, 150 grams of protein. 4 legs would be 300 grams of protein. Now what I'm going to do is just knead all these spices and herbs into the chicken. Here's an important information that I need to give you. The oven. So for a long time, I just didn't know how to use the oven. It's like there's so many settings. I didn't want to understand how to use it. And it was just a pain in the ass, so I just never invested the time to learn it. But oven cooking is actually the easiest and best because you can just make so much food for no effort. So I'm going to show you the tricks, right? I'm going to show you the things which I've learned over the years, and now you don't have to spend the same time and effort to learn it. So I'm going to show at this point how to use the oven, and this is kind of my setup, so I'm going to have to move this chair. So obviously everybody's oven is going to be different, but the basics are still going to be the same. Every oven is going to have a broil setting. I'm going to hit this until it goes to low. And I want you to understand where the element of the oven is, so you know where to adjust the rack. Let's go open this up. So check this out. In the oven, right, the element is on the top, which means that the top of the oven is going to be the hottest part of the oven. So if I have this rack all the way at this setting, then the food is going to be so close to the element that it's going to char, it's going to burn, and it's going to throw oil into the element, and that's going to cause a lot of smoke and might even cause a fire. So we never want to use the setting. We want to have the rack 1, 2, 3. The third setting from the top, which will be perfect for this recipe. So there's different ways to use the oven, right? The broil setting. What the hell is even the broil setting? So what is an oven? How does it work? What's broil and what's bake? So baking in the oven is the oven is set to a certain temperature, and it uses a thermostat to maintain that temperature. So if you set 400 degree Fahrenheit, it's going to get the oven to 400 degree Fahrenheit and it's going to keep it there. That's one way of cooking, and that works great. Broil is different. Broil does not have a set temperature. Broil just means that the element is always going to be on. So if you set low broil, it's going to set itself to low and just stay on throughout. So what's the difference between bake and broil? Bake, the element is not always on. So once it gets the temperature to 400 Fahrenheit, or whatever you set it at, it just turns on when that temperature falls below the set temperature, like a thermostat. In fact, it is a thermostat. So when the thermostat triggers, the element turns on. But with broil, the element is always on. So it's different cooking techniques. I could use the bake function for this, but it takes too long. So instead I use the broil function because the heat output of the element is continuous and it cooks the meat faster. So now you understand a little bit of the physics behind how this equipment works, and you can use it better. So what do we do now? We just need to wait for the oven to heat up. It will take about 5 minutes, and then we'll get back into it. But the oven's heating up. I'm gonna put the guy into the top rack, close her up, and set the timer to 15 minutes. At 15 minutes, we flip it and then set it for another 10 minutes. All right, boys, it's been 15 minutes. Let's take her out and see what she looks like. Oh, look at this, the steam rising. All right, let's check it. Okay, looks good. You can see some initial browning on the top, which is exactly what we'd expect. I need to flip her over, but to do that I need some tongs. In she goes. Let's check. Alright, looks done, maybe, but we'll have to verify. And how we check, well, I'm going to switch my camera. I'm going to slice into the thickest part of it that I can find. And let's see. So it looks to me like it's done. So let's see. I'm cutting all the way to the bone. And what we're going to see, you can tell us if it's cooked or not. All right. Now it should be completely done. That is a completely ready to go, beautiful, lot of pepper chicken. Now it's just too hot to taste test right now, so we'll come back to it once it's cooled down. In fact, you want to allow this chicken to cool down in its own juices because it kind of reabsorbs some of it and retains some of the moisture. And as the chicken has reached completion, so has the quinoa. Look at that, it's nice and fluffy, has not stuck to the bottom of the vessel, exactly how we want it. So how does it taste? The quinoa tastes light and airy, and the chicken, the meat is juicy and fresh. The skin is crispy and peppery. Overall, amazing nutritional profile.